Hey guys, today I'll be reviewing Pain Party's Work, Sylvia Plath in New York, Summer 1953, by Elizabeth Winder. So this book was published in 2013 by HarperCollins, and this hardcover first edition is 263 pages, but it's only 252 pages if you exclude notes and bibliography, the acknowledgments, stuff like that. So basically, this book is about Sylvia Plath's summer, like 1 month that she spent in New York in 1953 working at an intellectual women's fashion magazine called Mademoiselle. And during this 1 month period in the summer of 1953, Sylvia Plath experiences New York City, and she experiences the great parts of it, and then also the parts of it that can like tear a person down. She experiences what the workplace is like for a woman in the 50s who's working at a magazine and the demands of that, and it's also about the way that this month contributed to the breakdown, the beginning of the breakdown that resulted in her suicide. It's something that she never really got over, um, which is like, of course, like how could you can't just like get over something. However, um, the experience of being in New York during the summer and working at the magazine with all of these other girls who also were given this position informed her only novel, The Bell Jar, for which she's very well known. Elizabeth Winder in this book also spends a lot of time trying to sort of divorce Sylvia Plath's early life from the dark part of her later life, and she kind of wants to show that she did have a dark side, but she also was a young woman who really wanted to experience everything that life had to offer, and like she talks about how she dated all of these men because she wanted to experience that. Like she thought like even a bad date is something to write about and something to remember. She talks about Sylvia's love of clothing and fashion, of parties, how she was a little bit reckless, and those are all things that I really enjoyed. Elizabeth Winder researched this book by conducting interviews with the other girls who worked at the magazine um, at the same time as Sylvia. What happened is this magazine kind of would put out a call for young women who wanted to experience this, and the women would have to submit a writing sample, I believe, and then a handful from all across America would go to New York and have a month experience, all living together and then working for this magazine. So Elizabeth Winder interviews the other young women who worked with Sylvia to get their impressions of her, other angles of what life was like at the magazine, what Sylvia was like, as well as letters that Sylvia wrote home or to other people, excerpts from Sylvia Plath's journals. So it's pretty well-rounded research. That said, at first I really didn't enjoy the writing style. I didn't enjoy the voice that Elizabeth Winder was presenting Sylvia Plath's story, and I wasn't a fan. But as I got more and more into it, I started to see that it kind of was effective. Elizabeth Winder talks not only about Sylvia's life and her experiences, but also kind of the experience of being a woman in 1953 and the gender expectations and the ways that these women were trying to like dismantle them, and how Sylvia Plath was really ahead of her time, and that could be why she felt so different and was very aware of those differences, because she was trying to exist outside of these norms. Something that I really enjoyed about this book is that it made me feel really connected to Sylvia Plath. Like I could see similarities between the ways that I think and the ways that she it seems like she thought. Um, I when I'm writing, I feel like a sense of duty. Like I need to be, honest and not shy away from like the uglier parts or the darker parts of my experience being alive. But I also feel sometimes like I can't be, I don't know, interested in things that seem a little bit shallower or a little bit more fickle. But reading this, I really enjoyed that Sylvia Plath was just like, I like all of these things. Like I love reading James Joyce, and then I love spending all of my savings on new outfits. Like why can't you enjoy both? Um, and that's something that I really enjoyed. There's a quote actually that I really loved, and I would like to share it. This is in Sylvia Plath's own words. It's an excerpt from something that she wrote close to the time, and in it she's talking about her love of pretty material things, which I really identify with. Like I'm very Taurian, like I'm a Taurus, and I love pretty things. So it's kind of like that Rufus Wainwright song, "Pretty Things." It's Listen to it. It's my life. And the quote is, "And is not all of life material, based on the material, permeated by the material? Should not one learn gladly to utilize the beauty of the fine material? I do not speak of the gross crudities of soporific television, of loud brash convertibles and vulgar display, but rather of grace and line and refinement. And there are wonderful and exciting things that only money can buy, such as theater tickets, books, paintings, travel, lovely clothes, and why deny them when one can have them? The only problem is to work, to stay awake mentally and physically, and never become mentally, physically, spiritually flabby or overcomplacent." So by the time I got halfway through this book, I was really enamored by it, and I really felt connected to Sylvia Plath. And it reminded me why I love The Bell Jar so much. The Bell Jar is one of my favorite novels, and so this was a really interesting insight into that novel, and then also into myself. So I ended up giving it 4 stars out of 5 because I feel like my emotional connectedness to the book makes up for my apprehensions about the writing style at first. But I really, really did enjoy it, and I think that it's going to be something that I'll probably read again when I give The Bell Jar another read as well. Um, if you've never read Sylvia Plath, I definitely recommend reading The Bell Jar first, but then checking out this nonfiction book about her. It really, it separates her from the really dark legacy that she has. Um, and it kind of reminds you that she was just someone who really wanted to experience life, and she wanted to be happy. So that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys go pick it up and read it. And if you haven't read any Sylvia Plath before, I hope you guys go and read The Bell Jar. It's really extraordinary. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys back here soon. Okay, bye.